So I'm going to talk just for a few minutes about environment, health, and safety concerns that you might have when you travel abroad, and I'll give you some examples of some of the things that we've been experienced with as sample questions. EHS is sometimes we fill vacuums and don't know where else to ask for help. Sometimes we get those calls, so that happens with a little more frequency on international issues. We are available 24/7. If you just call our 452-3477, that's the 2 EHSS line. Do you need some help here? Thank you. Sorry, going the wrong way. Bink, bink. How's that one? 2 EHSS or 23477. Even off hours, we give you a message of how to reach us 24/7. So they'll be safe. It is handled through the facilities 24-hour operations center, and they will reach. We always have a team on call that's available. If someone is injured, a student or an employee is injured while traveling internationally, we still want to know about that. For employees, you are an MIT employee no matter where in the world you are. We care about you. So we want to know, first of all, that everything's okay and we can provide you whatever assistance. Usually that's through medical, so Dr. Heller may or may not talk about that. He's usually more into preventative things. We're like, what happened? So we do need to know what happened because there may be follow-up care or insurance or other things that need to go on, and we'll get that all coordinated with Sandy's office through us. And you are covered by OSHA as an employee. Now, students, interestingly, are not employees, generally not employees, but we are not going to treat students any differently than we treat employees here. So we want to know about student injuries as well, and we want to provide the support systems that MIT has if there's some sort of accident or injury. And then finally, the real reason environment, health, and safety exists is to try to prevent accidents or incidents. So we want to know about near misses or incidents that happen, especially in international settings, because we have more than 50 years experience managing environment, health, and safety issues on this campus. We don't have as much experience managing issues in remote locations. So we want to know about them, and we want your help trying to prevent them in the future, getting those lessons learned out to everyone else. There's the typical things that go on out in remote locations. So working with radiation or biological and chemicals and all those things, and there are physical hazards that happen. And so by far the most common types of injuries and incidents, both here at the campus and abroad, are physical hazards. So a trip, a broken arm because they fell down a hillside, things like that tend to be the kinds of things we face. But we're also aware that many people are going to work in laboratories or doing field work in international settings. And you need to know that the standards and the support that you may be accustomed to here at MIT on this campus may not be the same in a remote location. And so we will help you with that. So if you want to connect before you go or while you're there, we'll do what we can while you're there. If it's before you go, we may go as far as to contact the host institution to make sure the kind of work you're doing has the kind of protections that you would expect when you travel, if you were working there or here. So in that regard, when we do contact host institutions, or I'll actually go into some of these examples, we've had people crawl up to the side of the highest, there's hazard classifications for volcanoes, and it wasn't that recent, but we have pretty regularly people that travel to these volcanoes and want to go creeping up to them. I don't know how many have been to a volcano scene. Yeah, not too many. So I highly recommend going to Yellowstone National Park. Pretty calm place, but it is a volcano setting. And you know what? Sometimes that stuff bubbling out of the ground is pretty irritating. You know, it's usually sulfurous or some sort of acidic vapor that comes out. So the atmosphere, what you could be exposed to at a volcano setting, not so great. And we have people going to much more higher hazard potential volcanoes than Yellowstone. But it's a real nice place to visit, as an aside. There have been, as I said, injuries that have occurred in accidents, incidents. You know, this is a human calculation, so accidents happen, and we need to be prepared for them. We need to do what we can to prevent them, but when they do happen, they do happen. And as I said, most of what we see are physical injuries, trips, slips, falls, or other struck-by type injuries. But we have had the occasional. I was working in a lab, and the protective systems that they had in place weren't quite what I was used to here. And so when those do happen, we want to know about them, and we want to make sure we connect with the host institution to get those levels of engineering or administrative controls to where we think they ought to be. And finally, the last example I think I have is what we've been doing with SMART. So I always forget the A of SMART, so may help me. Singapore MIT Alliance for Research and Technology. Thank you. So we've been working actually with SMART and with National University of Singapore to harmonize our environment, health, and safety programs. So, for example, if you get training here for certain laboratory operations, it will be useful or acceptable to SMART or NUS, and vice versa. If you get trained at NUS and it's for certain programs, we're going to say, okay, that's going to be acceptable to most places at MIT. There may be some, you know, you get trained in general chemical hygiene at NUS and you want to go work in Building 18 in a synthetic chemistry lab. There may be a little extra training that's involved, maybe. So those are some of the examples of environment, health, and safety. We're available as a resource. You should think of us just as a long distance call, not a local call, and do get in touch with us if you need our support. We'll be around to help you. Okay, and we are going to hold questions. So I'm going to click this little clicker, and I can't say, this is worse than advanced calculate.
Actually, Josh is going to start. So
It'll be
you
easier
have
for you.
Josh, no, very simple.
You just made that switch.